So a couple months back, we talked about Amazon trying to get drone delivery for like same day and 2-hour delivery. The FAA crushed it by telling them they couldn't do drone deliveries outside a line of sight, which pretty much defeated the purpose of drones. Well, just here this past week, as reported by the Wall Street Journal, Amazon, Google, and others are developing private air traffic control for drones. This is kind of their way of getting around the FAA. So the FAA is like, well, we run the skies, and Amazon, Google, and others are big enough to say, well, we can create our own FAA, and good luck stopping us. So validation tests in conjunction with NASA are slated for the next 3 months. This is just happening at the beginning of the year. This was, beginning of March. And so the story comes out of Baltimore, where the commercial drone industry wants to create a privately funded, operated air traffic control network separate from the current federal system, the FAA, to enable widespread operations at low altitudes. This would be for delivery. This is pretty cool. So plans to accelerate such efforts spelled out at a conference here this week have backings of companies like Amazon, GE, Boeing, and Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, of course. So in conjunction with the National Aeronautics Space Administration, which is NASA, of course, validation tests are slated over the next 3 months at a handful of sites. And the intent is to develop something totally different with new ways of doing things. There were over 1,000 attendees at this conference, and the FAA's the coming flights are intended to explore, among other factors, how such a network would interact when required with the FAA's existing ground-based radar and human controllers. So the FAA runs all of the airspace, but what they're trying to do is a low-altitude one, which would kind of circumvent the FAA's, I don't want to call it their authority, but kind of. That's what they're looking to do. Limited deployment will take 2 years and could push that goal out further with policy hurdles. The FAA, which has relied on designing and deploying custom-built technologies and often taken a decade or more to belatedly roll them out, wouldn't finance or run the anticipated system for the drone. So the FAA would retain some authority to temporarily bar drones from certain areas of police or medical evacuation helicopters plan to pass through them. So the FAA is ultimately, because it is federal government, going to have some say over it, but they're trying to get around it, which is pretty cool. You can scroll down. I'll link this story down below. There are 70,000 U.S. drones registered for commercial purposes, according to the industry estimates. Roughly 1,500 operators, service providers, and related startups have swelled the U.S. industry ranks in recent years. That's people doing it for movies and YouTube and architecture and blueprints and design and agriculture, all kinds of drones everywhere. So Google and Amazon and all those trying to get into the delivery market with drones is something that we know has been coming. And I think it's very cool. What do you guys think about having a drone deliver your package to your front door? Would that be like amazing? Do you think it would be dangerous? Do you think it would be, a problem for air traffic control? Do you think it could cause problems with your packages? I mean, honestly, it's no different than a driver dropping it to your doorstep, except something in the air is going to drop it on the doorstep. I see a ton of issues with this, anywhere from like malfunctioning drones crashing, perhaps somebody knocking a drone out of the air because it has operate at low altitude. There are a lot of things that could stop a drone from, being successful, but I think it's a cool idea, and I think it could work in certain, neighborhoods and certain things. So tell me what you think down below. I'll leave the comment section open to you guys. As always, I thought it was very interesting. I thought you guys would want to sound off on this, and I want to know what you guys think about this. It's the next, implementation of future technology for companies like eBay, like Amazon, like Google to get into this, this section of delivery to try to speed it up. They're only, limited by the number of employees they have and the number of man hours and labor and overhead and costs and expenses. And if this does away with all that, more people could be losing jobs. So that's a downside to this. Anyways, please use the comment section below. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more cool stories, tips and tricks for selling on eBay and Amazon, how to make money, all that good stuff. And hopefully we'll talk real soon, and I'll see you again in the next video.